Hello, as I've said before, if you're going to pay a manager active fees to be an active manager, you want to make sure that they are in fact active. So there are a couple of measures out there, tracking error and active share. I've discussed both of those in these two videos here. Today, I want to talk about how we can use those two together to maybe better predict our active manager's return. So we can take those two measures and create a matrix. You get something like this. So the idea here is you have low tracking error and low active shares, then the manager is a closet indexer. They're not really deviating by either measure too much from the benchmark. If they have high active share and high tracking error, they're concentrated stock pickers. Low tracking error, high active shares, diversified stock picker, and then finally high tracking error, low active share, factor bets. And you might put a lot of the quantitative managers in that bucket, but it's just a way of classifying these different managers based on a matrix of these two measures. Now, in his paper, Active Share and Mutual Fund Performance, he kind of put a matrix together like this. And what he said is, look, if you have, he said most active stock pickers have outperformed. So if you look at this chart here, basically saying that managers with the higher active share, regardless of their tracking error, tended to be, or most of them, outperformed their benchmarks. Now, this seems interesting. There are, of course, a number of criticisms out there, largely, just saying that active share and being different, whether you're looking at active share or tracking or whatever, these, by being different, you're going to expect your returns to be different. And these could go in both directions. Whereas the paper kind of said, look, in general, these high active share managers outperformed. The other papers and other research here said, like, this doesn't really seem to be the case. You can go either direction, looking at different data, say from different data sets, it doesn't appear to be true. Another one said, okay, we have actually a better, more complete data set. And in that data set, it really didn't matter. These measures weren't really there. So you can pause this and you can go through and research these papers here. But the general idea is that there's kind of mixed evidence out there, depending on how you define your mutual fund manager universe, what time frames, how complete your data set is, making sure that you're using mutual funds that have not survived in your analysis. So just keep that in mind. Finally, I want to think about both of these measures, and in particular, active share, to me, is measuring in some ways how misspecified your benchmark is. So let's look at two different managers here. We have manager one here. Their benchmark is the Russell microcap, but they actually hold the Russell top 200, the 200 biggest names in the Russell index. They're going to have an active share of 100%, and their tracking error is likely going to be high. And you could have another manager whose benchmark is the top 200, but they actually hold the microcap. Again, active share is 100%. Tracking error is also very likely high. In this case, I think the managers are just have misspecified benchmarks, right? We shouldn't say, hey, the first manager is a mid-cap or a microcap manager, and the second one is a super mega cap manager. That just isn't the case. So I think you should consider this when you look at these two measures. Are you really measuring the right thing? Maybe something has been horribly misspecified. Finally, I think you need to make sure that you're actually getting what you're asking for. So if you want a mega cap manager, make sure that they are investing in mega cap names. If you want a microcap manager, make sure they're investing in microcap names. Now, from your perspective, what you want to make sure is like, hey, you have this asset allocation. That's why this is important. Say, like, I want to invest X% in the mega cap managers and X% in the microcap managers. But if they're not actually in those spaces, then your asset allocation isn't as intended. Also, be in the lookout for drift. Maybe your manager has been historically in the right basket, but they've drifted, from mega cap to micro cap for whatever reason. And I should also point out here that as you are putting together this big portfolio, you can afford to invest in managers that are much more concentrated, because as you put it together in a portfolio, you will be better diversified. Last thing you want to do is have so many active managers that are pretty well diversified, and when you finally put it together, you've ended up with a really expensive and inefficient index product that you could have just purchased for low fees. Anyway, good luck with all this. Hopefully that gives you something to think about in terms of your active manager selection. Thanks so much for listening.